Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the AI Radio Room. My name is Matthew Biniak. I'm the community manager at Magnet AI, and I'm joined today with Himanshu, who's a core contributor for product and tech in Sentient. If I've butchered that, then I very much apologize.
That's perfect. It's spot on what I...
Brilliant. So it's very nice to have you here. I'd love to know a little bit more about what you guys do at Sentient.
Sentient is building AI with community contributions. We want to build AI which is as good as OpenAI and beyond, keeping all the best minds aligned and keeping all the innovations aligned, which are just spread out in the research papers right now. But we bring all those through community contributions to this next generation of AI.
Lovely.
By people.
Good stuff. So let's talk a little bit, let's get into the depth of it now. So a lot of AI systems nowadays are trained on publicly available data scraped from the internet or from social media, obviously like Google, Facebook, Instagram, all these bits of information are public, right? Do you think it's ethical to use this data without the consent of the creator?
That's a good question. I don't think it's ethical, mainly because there's a bit of a surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
No one knew that the value that is sitting inside that data. So when I'm giving away my data, some of the things I'm writing online, I'm not really sure what value it creates. But as a collective, it created so much value out of it. So this takes it to a new question. Now, so far it is okay. We now discovered that this kind of publicly contributed shared data has a lot of value.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the right time now to revisit how to make sure that this value leakage doesn't happen in an unknown manner and the contributors can be rewarded in the long term for that value. So
Sure.
I think it's unethical, but we didn't know it will be this value. So maybe it was not unethical to begin. Now going forward, we have to correct course.
Yes, exactly. So obviously Sentient works a little bit with blockchain infra. Why do you think existing Web 2 solutions regarding infrastructure aren't sufficient? Why do we need a bit of a Web 3 push?
Oh, so Web 2 solutions for specifically the problem that we were talking about in the previous two questions are built around control by centralized forces and are built around reputation, are built around regulations, law, and as this is the whole basic crypto blockchain narrative, and there is certain friction with those mechanisms.
Yes.
When you want to scale them to a community scale ecosystem where an open innovation is going on, and at the same time the value can be controlled, that's precisely what blockchain systems are supposed to do. So Web2 solutions are definitely not designed for it. So what is the Web2 solution for this digital rights and this kind of ownership? Well, it's an owner system where people have been putting things in open source framework. Researchers like myself have been putting out the best effort of the youth, 20-year-old, 25-year-olds, best thing that they can churn out in public domain, and for companies to use and build for free. And it turns out that companies like OpenAI ended up building assets worth hundreds of billions of dollars using that open material. And Web2 solutions are not perfect for rewarding everyone there. And this is precisely where Web3 can enter. And this is precisely where blockchain and crypto ecosystem can enter.
I think it brings a lot of control back to the user as well, in terms of ownership of their own data, ownership of the prompts and things like that. So obviously, if they're training their models, they can have a sort of reward system behind it as well. A key solution that AI kind of offers.
Absolutely,
right?
Having ownership and reward system. There are a lot of technical challenges remaining there. Addressing at Sentient, that's the idea.
So then, what about governance? Obviously, traditionally, AI and any advancements are governed by the government, right?
Yeah.
So do we think maybe the private sector should be leading this sort of thing? So private companies, etc.
Absolutely, this governance has always been run by multiple parallel forces. Never been a single force. No. Government is the most prominent one, so we are always aware of it. It's the most powerful one, in some sense, the most impactful one. It's a very recent phenomenon, right? Few hundred years old. Governance itself is older than that.
Yeah.
Like just from my context, growing up in India, the independence happened 70 years ago.
Yes.
And so the place where I come from, a lot of people, the older people, didn't used to refer to India as, didn't see India in the same way. For them, there was a local governance structure, which they remember from before independence, which was more important for them. There are many governance structures, especially for new things like AI. This new form of AI is old, but the new form of AI, which is so powerful, the governance structures are evolving. There will be a power structure in private sector, which big companies are bringing in. There's a different governance structure. There's the government regulation which comes in, because government is now scared of the power being centered in some specific companies, which are even more powerful than some governments. NVIDIA is a $3 trillion company. So I'm sure many governments have lesser money than that. And it's more powerful than those governments. And in the same vein, there's need for another open governance structure by a parallel community which doesn't fall in any of these categories. And that's what many of us like you, me, are also trying to build.
So do you think there's room for traditional Web3 governance to push this legislation forward, or the regulation within the sector?
Oh, that's a very good question. And you may not be aware, but I interact a lot with government agencies for this kind of policy making and these discussions. These are very hard things in the sense that the government agencies would love to use the blockchain technology for their own governance structure, but they obviously don't want to have a parallel crypto driven governance structure. So I would say that the governments are and would love to embrace technologies for governance structure. They are. Like all governments are open to it. They're trying because this kind of digital governance driven by blockchain protocols is faster and all that. But that's not same as the vision that sometimes you and I would share because that governance is driven by the regulatory source of trust held by governments. We are after some other source of trust held by some other community token. But the underlying tech is common. There's no other option. Tech is common. You have to use the tech. The source of trust and source of power will be different, and that's how I see it. So governments will adopt whatever we are inventing in technology will be adopted by governments too.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for your insights. Is there anything you maybe want to share about Sentient and what you guys are doing within the next 3 months? What have you guys got planned in the pipeline?
Sentient, as I said, the main thing is to build AI with community, and there are many things about it, and you will soon see. We'll put out a white paper what we are building. But the key problem in doing that is, suppose you build this powerful AI, and you want people to use it. Why won't they just copy whatever you have built and take it away? Why won't the original companies itself scrape that data and take it away and take those models and build on those?
Sure.
Right. And that's the first problem we were always after. That's the key technical challenge. Even if all the business and ecosystem works out, that technical challenge remains. So we are after that piece. How do we make sure that our models, which are trained through community contributions, remain loyal to that community?
Right.
And they can monetize it while remaining openly available. So we call this Open Monetizable Loyal models, OML models. And that's a technology we are building. So you will see in the next few months, you will see what kind of AI will come on Sentient, but you will also see the first proposal of our OML solution. This OML is a long-term thread, sort of parallel. It's a completely new research area, just like ZK.
Sure.
We have already some candidate solutions, which are at a POC scale, which will be launched soon. And that's what you will see first in terms of deep tech side from Sentient.
So in terms of these OML models, will they be compatible with other projects within the AI and Web3 space?
Absolutely. So the file looks like exactly a neural network file. It's exactly the same format, ONX format. And it has some properties. It has these properties which allow you to track when it's used, and you can't just use it without the permission from the protocol.
Sure.
That's what it has.
So we'll look forward to working with you guys with Magnet AI and Sentient and trying to kind of integrate these things.
Absolutely. And you know, it's not hidden behind anything. It's as an open source project with everyone else.
Yeah. Beauty of Web3. We can all work together and get those key solutions that we're all after.
Absolutely. This is the key piece which everyone needs for community build or community owned AI. Because what happens after you build it? Why won't someone just take it away as soon as it starts showing value? That's the key question to answer, right? I think to be fair to OpenAI, this is the question which made them become closed AI.
Yes.
Right? They were building something and it became so powerful. And now the question is, if you want to raise more capital, you have to monetize it. And the only answer they could think of it, let's close the model and monetize from there.
That's precisely what we try and help solve as well. Yeah. Because open source creators kind of struggle to raise funds because of things like this, right? And we kind of provide this platform for model creators to almost raise these funds, further develop their models so they can scale them. Obviously, if they get funding, they can scale their models, and obviously improves the user experience for everybody. So I'd like to thank you very much, Himanshu, for joining us today. So hopefully you enjoy your time at Brussels then.
Thank you very much, man.
Thanks very much for joining us, and thanks everybody at home for joining us for the AI Radio Room. We'll see you next time.